Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be drawing, is it Execute? I believe it's Execute for the Pokemon. Gonna sketch it out and then I'm going to draw or color it with paint, digital paint, not actual paint. One day I hope to do more traditional art, and be able to do that. But right now I think digital art's the best thing just because I believe I explained it before, but it's just I don't have to worry about buying materials and stuff. It's a lot cheaper, all that good stuff. Let's see. Execute Pokemon. Sorry, I'm looking this up. I always look stuff up when I'm doing these videos. Yeah, it looks like it is Execute. And that's good. And that's all these Pokédex entries. Trying to see if go to the official website. Let's see. So Execute. If you touch one of Execute's heads, mistaking it for an egg, the other heads will quickly gather and attack you in a swarm. It's hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah. But anyways, just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. With this drawing, I actually used the did I use the what do you call it? It's when you so in Procreate, I'm pretty sure you know this if you're an artist, but if you don't, if you whatever pen, paintbrush or pencil you're using, if you draw a circle and just do it continuously and then bring it all the way back to the end point that you have, or the beginning point, whatever, and you hold it there, then you can actually make it an ellipsis or a circle or whatever shape that you want it to be. I believe I use that in this, but then I kind of like sketch over it a little bit. So I'm trying to start using the tools that are available to, because right now I've been freehanding everything, like circles and ovals and all that, squares. Like I would just freehand it, kind of sketch it out, and it would come out pretty messy. So in this one I tried, it looks like, to make it a little more uniform, But yeah. So anyways, today I wanted to talk about my bad art. And I may have talked about this before, but I'm gonna talk about this again because I like talking about my bad art. And when I use the term bad, I'm gonna use quote unquote bad because everything's subjective. Like, to me, I don't believe I said this on YouTube before, but to me, I don't think there's any such thing as like bad art, quote unquote bad art. And the reason why I say that is because, to me, if you're making art in any capacity, and no matter what you're creating from scratch or whatever, if you're getting it out and you enjoy it, it shouldn't really matter what it really looks like. You're just doing it because you're enjoying it, and you're doing it for the fun of it. Unless you're doing it to make money, that's fine too. But I think for most artists out there, like most people who create things, they do it because they want to do it and they like to do it. And a lot of times people don't get paid for it. Most people don't get paid for it, as a matter of fact. Like myself, I'm not getting paid for any of this. I do this because I like it and I enjoy it, and it's so therapeutic to me. And yeah, hopefully one day I'll be able to sustain myself with my art and my creativity. But right now, it's not the I guess the word is antithesis. Antithesis. Yeah, I don't know what the word is. It's not the reason why I create. It'll be fine, but it's not the main goal in this situation. I would do this even if I don't see a dime from it, because I enjoy it. And that's what it's all about. Like I said, hopefully one day I'll get to the point where I won't need a regular job anymore and I could just create all day, every day. And that'll be fun. And then I can take breaks and create when I want, and that'll be awesome. But right now, it's not a thing at the moment. So yeah. Anyways, So yeah, creating bad art, I think it's a fallacy to create bad art. And of course, there are some artists that just literally throw paint on the canvas, and then they call it art. And I guess you could call it art. It's up to you. There are different people's definitions of what art is, what art isn't. I have my own subjective idea of what art is and what isn't art. Like AI stuff to me isn't art, even though some people call it AI art. But no, it's not really AI art. It's just stealing ideas and putting them all together using a computer. So that's not really art to me. But to some people it is, and I can't really judge other people's definition of what art is or isn't, because I have my own definition. So yeah. But I think the idea that I was gonna go at, or the idea that I was gonna give is that, or maybe the example I was gonna give. So like music. Music is, very well known art form. A lot of people love it, all that great stuff. I love art, music. But thing about music is that some people think that there is such thing as bad music. And I get why some people think that. But to me, I don't think there is such thing as bad music. I think there is just different taste in music. And some people disagree with that, and that's fine. To me, I don't believe in bad music. I think if you're creating something from scratch and you're trying, I don't think it's bad. Even like I know Nick Cannon gets a lot of he gets a lot of flack, and he gets made fun of a lot. Like I remember I watched an interview with 50 Cent, and 50 Cent was telling Nick Cannon that he sucked because he was trying to start a back and forth with Eminem, and he wasn't doing very well. But I'm like, my thing is at least he was trying. I know that's not the most popular thing, and people are like, oh, well, that's dumb. If you're trying but you're not succeeding, well, that means you failed. It's like, no, like what's his name? Giannis Antetokounmpo, I believe is what his name is. I know his first name is Giannis. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Anyways, the Bucks. The Bucks are power forward center. I forget what his position is, but he was talking about a while back. I think it was a couple years ago when they lost in the NBA Finals or whatever, or the NBA playoffs. And a reporter asked him, as Giannis, hey, so what do you? I don't know exactly what the quote is, but it was something about failure, right? Like, do you consider this season a failure or whatever? And Giannis Antetokounmpo, he responded back in very much a way that I think of like life or art or creation or however you want to look at it. But to me, like, failure is not really failure. Failure is you trying something, and all because it doesn't work out at that time, you continue to keep trying. The only failure is not trying to me. That is what the ultimate failure is. And don't get me wrong, people will make fun of you when you don't hit a goal, or when you're not quote unquote successful at something, and people think that you're like talentless or whatever people's perceive you as, and the thing is, you have to perceive yourself as a human first, and understand that you're going to make mistakes. You're not always just going to get it right off the bat. Like for basketball, like I played basketball a lot growing up, and I'm decent. I'm not the best player, not the worst player, kind of middle of the road. Maybe not even middle of the road. Maybe I'm like bottom, but but I like to think I'm pretty decent at basketball, right? And with that being said, though, I had to put in hours and hours and hours of, like, there were days that I would just be outside for 5-6 hours a day, playing there was this place called the Alamo. Not the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, but I'm talking about the Alamo. It's a recreational center in Austin, Texas. And the Alamo was a place where a lot of people would go to go play basketball. Old people, older people, younger people. It was just a lot of fun to be out there and be playing, especially with my cousins. We all, you know, stayed at my grandmother's house, and then up the street, a few blocks, we would go to the corner store, get some snacks, get a Gatorade, whatever, and then we would just go to the basketball court, and we just play basketball all day, and it was fun, man. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, I still have fond memories of going there, and yeah, so many great things happened there. Not a couple of bad things, but mostly great things, But it was good times, and but yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because, like, I was trying to get better. I was practicing slowly but surely. I got better, and ultimately, I got to be pretty decent. Even now I haven't played in years, but I like to think I'm still pretty decent. I may not be able to dunk anymore like I used to, but I bet if I were to keep trying in gym and making sure to work on my jumping and all that, I think I'll still be able to dunk. Because thankfully, I've only been hurt once in basketball, and it was only because I bit my lip. I bit my lip clean off. And speaking of biting my lip clean off, I saw that I was watching the news or reading the news or whatever, and they were talking about Job Corps. So Job Corps, if you don't know, it's a trade school, and it is funded by the government. And I went to there's different Job Corps that have different trades and all that. The one I went to was in San Marcos, Texas, called Gary Job Corps, and I went for office administration. Very generic, but it was office administration. It was something to have a place to stay and figure out what I want to do instead of going to college. But it was a cool place. It was people that are around my age, and it was community, and people were getting their trades. They had like HVAC technicians, they had warehousing, they had CMA, which is certified medical assistant or certified nursing assistant. They're pretty similar, so they offer both of them. What else did they offer? I think those are like the main ones that I can remember. But anyways, yeah. So they apparently are shutting these down. Excuse me, sorry, blowing my nose. But yeah. So apparently they're shutting all these Job Corps places down all over the country, and it's because they're cutting the United States Department of Defense, I think, budget. And it's sad because, like, a lot of these kids, like, they don't have a place to go. Like for me, if I was in that Job Corps, like, I would have been probably homeless at that time, even though I'm homeless now. But still, I had a place to go, and I had a place to study, and I graduated and all that. And, I got something from it, and yeah, it's just sad to see, like, a lot of these kids, they don't have a place to go. Like, they're going to end up on these streets and not have a place to be, or they're gonna go back to like I saw this one woman. She was talking about she has to have a breast cancer surgery coming up in a couple of weeks, and she may have to cancel her breast cancer surgery because she has to take care of her kid and make sure he's okay. And it's sad, man. Like, and a lot of these Job Corps people, a lot of them come from lower income families, and yeah, people that can't afford maybe like college or vocational training, or whatever it may be, whatever the next step is for a young adult. And it's just sad to see, man. Like, it upsets me. Like, I really wish that I was in a position to help these people, and maybe I am. Maybe I need to do some more research and figure out what I can do and do my part in terms of helping these people, because it's just a matter of, like I said, going back to trying. It's all about trying and failing. So yeah, I think I'll look that up, look into that at least. Try to see maybe if I can try to help some people, especially at Gary Job Corps, that's closest to me. Like I said, I'm in Austin. They're in San Marcos, about an hour away, driving. But maybe not even that. But hopefully, I'll be able to try to help somebody. 'Cause I think on June 30th is what I saw is when they're shutting down Gary Job Corps, and it'll be permanently closed for a while. Yeah, but we'll see what I can do. I'll try to do something, definitely. Try to see if I can look into that. But yeah, kind of coming to the end of this video. Only a couple minutes left. Sorry about my nose again. I got allergies right now. It's allergy season. Probably making that up, but to me, it's allergy season. Oh, one other thing I want to talk about is being too old. So, and when I say that, I'm just mean like being too old to do anything. And I know that some things are, more younger sport. Like for example, or I guess I'll say this before I give an example. You can change your life at any point in your life. That was very profound, by the way. The way I said that was very profound. I should write a book. But no, seriously though. Like for me, right? I'm 31 right now, and in my 20s, I didn't do much in terms of like my life. I was just going from job to job. I would dabble in some creative stuff, with like YouTube or music and stuff. And I wasn't getting the traction that I wanted at the time. And I would set myself up for failure for giving myself expectations on how people should perceive me. And, oh, I'm getting good information, so why don't people, take this advice? Why aren't people engaging with it? And all that stuff. And I'm like, well, it's all a process. People engage with stuff or figure stuff out the more you do it, because there's a lot of people who are quote unquote successful now, where in the beginning, they thought that they were doing some of their best work, and maybe they were. But later on, the more that they did it, the more that they released, then it's like, okay, now people are getting it. And then people go back to your catalog of things you've done, and they're like, oh man, he's always been, great and all that stuff. I always knew he could be great. And it's like, yeah, no, you didn't. People didn't believe until it got popular. But, it's okay. It's not, I don't fault anybody for that, because many times I've done that. I remember even like Drake, for example, as popular as Drake is, I remember listening to Drake back in 2011, 2012, and this is, I think, before his So Far Gone album or mixtape. Yeah, some people think it's an album. But yeah, he would put out music and put out a lot of covers and all that, and people thought that the whole singing thing for a rapper was just corny. It's like, no, it's a great idea. Now a lot of rappers do both. They sing, they dance, they rap, they do all that, But yeah, but it kind of comes to the end of this video here, and I guess I'll expand on that more later on. Sorry, I had to kind of cut this short about being too old, but you're never too old to do anything. So just keep that in mind. Always strive for what you want to do in life, no matter what. If you want to be a doctor at 30, 40 years old, go do that shit. Like, really go do it. And I know it's easier said than done. I understand that. Trust me, me with this creation stuff, I thought that, I want to be an artist, and it's easier said than done. I got to put in years of practice, of dedication, of discipline. Whoop, dropped my phone. And I'm willing to go through that though, because I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I want that light at the end of the tunnel, which is being a quote unquote successful artist. And I'll talk about that later on, about what being a successful artist is in my eyes, but it's different for everybody. So I'll talk about that. But yeah, other than that, I hope y'all enjoy y'all day, and I will talk to y'all in the next one.